This is Slam Hockey with your hosts, Peter Wojcicki and Paul Swinbeck. Welcome to Slam Hockey, folks. I'm your host, Peter Wojcicki. You can find me on Twitter at Russian98, and I'm with
Paul Zwambag. You can find me at Zwambag, Z-W-A-M-B-A-G. How's it going, everybody? Peter, what's up?
Well, you know, where I've been at the games, drinking some beers, enjoying some hockey. Some great, exciting hockey. And I'll tell you about my last few days at the end of the episode. What else do we have in this episode? Of course, another World Cup of Hockey episode, pretty much. What are we calling this, Paul? Is this just World Cup of Hockey episode 2 now?
Part 2? Continued?
Continued? Part 2? Part 2 of 3? Because probably in the next episode we're going to round it off, right?
Probably.
Part 2 of 3. Maybe. Alright. Something like that. So again, that's the meat of this episode. World Cup of Hockey. Other stuff we're still going to talk about. Like I said last episode, I talked a little bit about NHL 17. I pretty much played franchise mode, and I mentioned a little bit about that. This episode, I'll get a little bit more into the EASHL, Paul. EASHL, not ECHL, Paul.
No.
You're laughing at me because I did say ECHL when we were talking about what we're going to be talking about in this episode.
But you can play ECHL in NHL 17, so I hear.
Right. Yes, that's what I said. So it's pretty cool. You can play now. This is the first year. ECHL teams. Oh, boom. Oh, what a save. Who's that? Ben Bishop's in that. The game's still on right now. The game that does not matter. It's 1-1 USA right now as we're recording this podcast. Huge save by Ben Bishop right there. But yes, you can play as any of the ECHL teams, which is great. Some of the jerseys are really cool. I was looking at, and I even picked them. I'm like, oh, the Allen Americans. Not really. I really don't know about the Allen Americans. Do you know anything about them, Paul?
No. I know they're in Texas.
They're in Texas. Okay, it was kind of weird. I don't know if it was a glitch in the game because the game loaded and it said Burnaby. And I was like, pretty sure this is not Burnaby BC team because they wouldn't be the Allen Americans. But the jerseys looked cool, and a lot of these jerseys look cool, and it was cool to wear some of these jerseys. And again, you could be any of the teams as well when you're playing them. But we'll get into that a little bit later on. My quick online EASHL review. And Paul will also give us a little bit of some training camp stuff. Just a little bit before in the next 2 weeks we'll talk a lot more about it. But first, trending now. Paul, this Twitter just blew up after Phil Kessel made a comment, right? When did Phil Kessel become the Mike?
I have no idea because he's only tweeted 3 times in the past year.
And every time he does it, the Twitter blows up. I remember it last year when he made that Maple Leaf comment. Like, he got traded to the Pens, right? But, like, 2 months later, he makes a comment, like, just randomly. He's, like, probably just lounging out, or he's making a barbecue, or he's just having a beer on his couch, and he's like, yeah, maybe I should say thank you to the Maple Leaf fans. It was hilarious. Like, randomly 2 months after he got traded. So what did he say this time, Paul?
Just sitting around the house tonight with my dog. Felt like I should be doing something important, but couldn't put my finger on it.
I wonder, what could have he been doing? I'm pretty sure he had, like, bills due or something, right? He had some bills due. They had to be. Maybe it was a barbecue. He had a big family reunion barbecue, and he just missed it. What else could it be?
Yeah, no kidding.
Right? Like, people are hating. Who's hating here?
Pretty much all players from Team USA.
Yeah, and management, players, coaches, they hate this.
And anybody that doesn't like Phil Kessel for what he has gone through in Boston and then what he went through in Toronto. Yeah. There's a lot of people that just don't like Phil Kessel as a player, as a human, anything.
Yeah, I think he's a beauty.
Yeah, I had a good chuckle out of it.
He does what he needs to do. Yes, he's not great in front of the mic, right? Usually, in my opinion, in the past, he was kind of like, blank-faced in front of cameras. But in my opinion, he's getting a lot better. These comments that he's making, like in the playoffs, the whole smell bad stuff.
Yeah, the bad breath.
Yeah. Oh, that was so good. And now this is hilarious. Fans are loving it. It might not be good for business, might not be good for, his country, but fans, they're loving it. Ooh, what a goal. The Americans who just scored? The Czechs. Sorry, the Czechs just scored 2-1. They crashed the net. Czechs are leading 2-1. That's the update there. But who else? Did Backus say something?
Actually, Parise.
Okay.
Everyone can have their opinion. They can say what they want to say. We were here, we tried hard, we played hard and came up short. Didn't Phil have surgery? I don't think he could even play anyway. His tweet didn't really make sense. Which is kind of true. Phil Kessel did have surgery July 10th, 11th, somewhere around there, for his hand. So, I don't even know if he's going to be in training camp for the Penguins to start.
Yeah, that's the thing I was always questioning, right? They came out later on that he was going to have surgery with his hand. He played the whole year, technically, with that injury, right? So I thought maybe they called him. They may have called him, said he's injured, but by that tweet and by their reactions, it sounded like there was never a call given to Phil Kessel. Right?
Yeah.
So maybe it would have been nice at least they given them a call or the opportunity to say no because I have an injury or something of that fact.
Well, another guy that got snubbed, Bobby Ryan, his tweet, "Kill USA hockey with kindness, and maybe they'll let me play over 35 adult worlds if I'm not a defensive liability by then." Oh.
That's a bit of a more backhanded.
Yeah, that's a little more putting it out there.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I like both of them, too. I liked even the Ryan comment. I guess both of them aren't known as, 2A type players. So, or let's get into the next part. What Tortorella and Lombardi had to say. I think Tortorella didn't say too bad. He was just saying that I just wish he didn't say anything because it makes him look bad. It's easy to start chucking dirt when things go bad. And then the U.S. General Manager, Dean Lombardi, of course we know him from the LA Kings, he said, part of that will be in my book down the road. But let me say this. If you're talking about Justin Abdelkader, Blake Wheeler, Brandon Dubinsky, Ryan Kessler, David Backus, I'll take those guys any day. Any day. You're going to have to play against those guys in a little while, Lombardi added, about Kessel. But that's basically the trade-off. Those guys have big-time heart. And when I talk about caring, they'd be the nucleus of my caring. And they'd compete, and they can play for me any day. Wow. That's pretty rough. He's calling out Kessel basically and saying he has no heart.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Again, that goes back to the factor, and I was going to mention it later on, but I'll just say it right now. Like, we're going to talk about later on in the episode why teams failed, why they didn't make the next round, the semis. They said that they built this team to beat Canada. But what about the other teams? You still need to beat them. So they brought in guys that are grinders, that are heart guys, that are grit guys. Abdelkader, Dubinsky, to beat up Sidney Crosby. You know, like in wrestling right now, beat up John Cena. That's what AJ Styles is saying, right? They brought these guys to beat up Sidney Crosby because he is the face that runs the place, right?
Yeah.
So they couldn't beat Sidney Crosby. They couldn't beat Canada, but they couldn't beat the other teams as well.
Well, and maybe they slowed down Sidney Crosby, but that's just because they have such a deep team that Crosby doesn't need to play 22 minutes a game. I think he plays like 4 minutes a period in the World Cup right now. I think that's what his average is.
And that was the game 2, right? When
they
played this in the States. Crosby, yeah, that's right. They did a decent job covering Crosby that game. But they couldn't cover anybody else.
Yeah.
Including, Couture and who's the other forward that was really good in that game?
Matt Duchene.
He was amazing.
Yeah.
So there's too many weapons on Team Canada. So yeah, you can maybe shut down that kid and Marchand and Bergeron line, but you can't stop all of the lines. So that was a big downfall, and they did not come out strong against like Team Europe. Everybody was shocked how well they played, and they played really well in this tournament. So that's rough. Like those comments, come on. Like Kessel's just making jokes, and maybe this is a good way to spin it, so it doesn't make Team USA look that bad, and the factor is all pushing how bad they played.
Yeah, I don't know.
They might lose here tonight against the Czechs. Clean sweep of USA not winning any games.
Yeah, and that'll be two teams that lost every single game. Finland as well.
Mm-hmm. So we'll get more about that when we talk about the World Cup of Hockey parts in the episode. But the other thing that's trending now is Connor McDavid. What did he say? He said, basically, he doesn't want to play for Team North America again. Here's his direct quote, according to Michael Trikos of the National Post. Honestly, for me in 4 years, I hope I can definitely represent my country. I don't think I want to represent Team North America twice. We talked about this, Paul. Remember, you made your picks.
Yeah.
Who's going to be on Team North America in 4 years? And we both said it was McDavid, Matthews, and who else?
Eichel. That's right. 1, 1, and 2. So, and that was the questioning I had because I really wanted to get that Matthews jersey. And you were saying, oh, well, they might not have the same logo. They might not be playing. Right? How about if they win? If they win, it's like you got to keep him in the tournament, right? Yeah.
So now he comes out with this. What do you do with that, Paul?
They're going to make a McDavid rule. That's what they're going to call it.
And he's going to play for Canada.
Yeah, but then is Austin Matthews going to be able to get away with it?
Yeah, that won't be fair.
No, and why weren't guys like Gaudreau given the chance to go play for Team USA?
Galchenyuk wasn't picked for North America, but technically he wasn't given the chance to play for Team USA, I guess. I would have picked Galchenyuk over, in my opinion, over some of these North American kids, but as well over some of these American players. So
I have a feeling what they're going to end up doing, it won't be a McDavid rule, but they'll say, okay, Team Canada, you get to make your roster. Team USA, you get to make your roster. And then North America gets to take the leftovers.
That would hurt them even more because you can see in this tournament, they were, we'll talk about this again later on in this episode, but they were the most exciting team to watch, right?
Yeah.
So if you give the other teams more of technically the better players, the better kids, that's going to make this Team North America not as exciting to watch, right?
True.
So that's a tough one. In my opinion, they should still keep it the same. Or how about make a World Kids team and 22 and under, you know? There would be a lot more of these Finnish kids in there, right?
Yeah.
Aho or Laine and
Puljujärvi would have made it.
Puljujärvi, maybe Julijevi. I don't know. Ristolainen's still pretty young, is he? Right?
Yeah.
So a lot of these Finnish kids would have been in there. And again, these Russian kids aren't that young anymore, right? The Russian kids that are considered rookie of the years, right? Panarin.
Yeah.
And of course Zaitsev is fairly old too, right? So those are considered their younger guys, so they wouldn't be on there. But a team, I was thinking a World Team Kids team would be pretty good, maybe better, especially for some other countries.
If McDavid just looks down the couple of years down, Nolan Patrick, if he gets to play with Nolan Patrick, that might be fun for him. Yeah.
Like, how fun was it for him playing with Matthews and Eichel? It was great.
Yeah, when's the next time they're going to be able to do that?
Yeah. So, well, with Eichel, pretty much never if he goes to Canada, right? So.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get into the next stuff. Training camp, Paul. What do you have for us?
Not a lot happening. Media day was Thursday. Physicals were Wednesday. What I wanted to know is what the coaches are doing that are still coaching the World Cup. I read an article on John Cooper saying that he has a group of guys that he's put in place in case North America went deep, that they can basically run training camp on their own. But there's a lot of like PTOs that guys are trying to fight for spots and get cut randomly throughout the training camp. So the coach isn't having a say with that because they're in Toronto right now. So
Yeah, there's a lot of NHL coaches that are.
Oh,
in
there's
the tournament.
tons. I think there's 14 coaches in total that were coaching in the World Cup. Probably dwindled down to maybe 8 or 9 now that we're down to 4 teams. But yeah,
so you're stuck with what? The assistant coaches and your AHL coaches?
Your AHL coaches, maybe your development guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Penguins have like Bill Guerin that is a development guy. He'll be there coaching, running practices and stuff. But yeah, I don't know if this is going to hamper any of the teams. Like I don't think the players are going to be hurt by it because they're already playing hockey and they're the superstars of the team.
But getting a system down and in play to be ready to start day 1, October 12th, yes, it'll be a little tricky.
Yeah, and games are starting in 25th of September. They have preseason games, so...
What? There's preseason games in 3 days?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, so I think this is going to hamper a lot of the PTO guys. I don't think they're going to be able to jump into a system, and hopefully the coaches have contingency plans to cover this, but luckily it only happens every 4 years, so I don't think it's going to be that big a deal.
Shouldn't be too bad. All right. Well, we'll talk more about camp stuff after the World Cup of Hockey is over. All right. Well, I'll give you a little bit of my quick review of EASHL online for NHL hockey. Yeah, like the first thing I was going to say, like I just mentioned before, you can use any of the ECHL jerseys, which is wicked. I really like this. It's much harder to troll online, which is great. You actually have to pick a position before you log in online. So if you want to be a forward or a defenseman or a goalie, you have to pick that first, which is great. A lot of guys only want to play forwards or only want to play an offensive game. So they have to say that they're going to play a forward. So then you're waiting more for defenseman type guys that want to play defense to get in or log on. It might be a little trickier to have a goalie instead of a computer type goalie, but at least this way you know there's a guy that wants to play goalie that will play goalie for your team online. That's great. Much less trolls this way, and it speeds up the process of a lot of people flopping on games, starting the games, wait 2-3 minutes, all right, we don't have a goalie, people leave, that kind of stuff. That's going to happen less, which is great. And then also for me, myself, I like to play defense. I like to play a defensive defense type play, not as offensive, which is great. It's very rare online with even guys playing defense. They usually want to play offensive. Again, that's more because you could be any position before, and if you lost the forward position, some guys would just pick a defenseman and still play offensive. Now you have a greater chance of guys who actually want to play defense because they have to pick their roles before. But it is harder to play defense for some reason. They do have a nice addition in the game, which is cool, is holding and clutching, grabbing in front of net, which is always allowed in the NHL. They've added now to the game, which is great. It's a little tricky. Sometimes when you're pressing, I believe it's triangle on PS4, sometimes it doesn't work. It doesn't hold the guy. So it's a little sticky situation. I think they're going to adapt and make it better later on as the game goes on. But everything else is there too. The new jerseys are in there for the Leafs and the Panthers, which is great. And player types. Of course, we all know the regular ones. There's two-way type forward, sniper. There was added dangler last year for forwards. Now there's hitting sniper. So a guy that can hit a little bit more and score. I think there's another one with playmaker. But for D as well, there's the usual offensive defenseman, enforcer defenseman. But now they added puck-carrying defenseman. So those guys like a Cody Franzen, who's very just good at bringing the puck out of the zone and making that good first pass. That's a new player type, which is pretty cool. They've added a few new player types, and it's cool. It's good change of pace. For some reason, enforcer defenseman is working really well for me. Better than defensive defenseman. I don't know why, but I'm more steadier, less errors for some reason, which is odd. And I scored harder shots and goals because of the enforcer, I guess, has a much harder shot than a defensive defenseman. So that's my quick update on online. And next episode or 2 episodes from now, I'll do the Be a Pro, just the one player. And let's get into it, Paul. That was my quick NHL EASHL review. World Cup of Hockey. Okay,
Yeah.
so Paul, Team USA got trashed by their vets, right? And what happened? They didn't wake up. But Russia, that day after they lost to, who did they lose to in the first round? Was it Finland or was it Europe?
No.
Can't remember. They lost Sweden.
Sweden.
I think it was Sweden now. They lost 3-0. It was really bad. They got trashed hard by their media, their country, the next day. They woke up, and especially after the first few shifts against North America, where the kids looked like they were flying, something snapped and they started playing much, much better. Versus USA didn't. They didn't wake up and snap and start playing much better. So what's the difference there? Why did Russia snap out of it?
They got better top talent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think leadership really had anything to do with it, because I think Pavelski's a pretty solid leader. Mm-hmm. Ovechkin's not. He plays. His leadership is through example. I don't think he can get guys going just by talking to them. Mm-hmm. But I think, it's the top talent. Russia figures it out. They eventually figure it out. With short tournaments like this, I think they have troubles getting a nucleus and a chemistry and like everybody jumping on board of the coach's game play.
It's odd because the coaches, they haven't changed this Russian format in like a bajillion years. Back in the day, whoever stepped on the ice to replace a guy, you were his position. It didn't matter if you played right wing. If you got on ice for the left defense, you were left defense. This is how Russia played. This is how they used to play. So now they're adapting slowly. And Team USA scored. It's 2-2 with about 5 minutes remaining in the second here. So now they're rolling all four lines. So if Ovechkin and Tarasenko are playing on the top line with Kuznetsov, they're only playing as equal as the fourth line, which I called the KHL line, with Telgin and Shipachyov and Dadonov, which is very odd. That would never happen in any other, league, in the NHL, in any of these other countries that are playing. You're playing Ovechkin 25% of the time, even less if you're making bad penalties.
Yeah.
So it's very odd. They kept it the same way. I was at the game today, and last game, even though they didn't play that well against Sweden, they kept the same style, and in the end, their bigger players like Ovechkin and Tarasenko did step it up. But again, they were still playing the same amount of ice time.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem in their first game of these kind of tournaments, that Ovechkin wants to play his 24 minutes a game and stay out on the ice for 2 minutes. Well, he's got to realize it's a team. It takes four lines in these kind of tournaments to go far.
Yeah. Oh, Datsuk didn't play today. I just noticed now because I was at the game and I just realized, Datsuk didn't even play today. But yeah, they're going to stick with their regular system. Even like Ovechkin, he played on the first power play line, did not play on the second power play line. So that's their system. They're going to stick to it, and it's doing well. Especially Bobrovsky, he's playing really well for them.
Yeah.
So that's going to help them a lot. And again, that matters the most. And maybe that's why Team USA didn't play that well. Quick wasn't very good.
No, he wasn't. And why didn't they go to Schneider?
Yeah, and even they went with Bishop in this game.
Yeah.
So before we get into who's in the next round, why didn't these teams qualify? Team USA, like I was saying, tried to build a team against Canada and didn't do well. Again, in my opinion, you got to bring your best. You got to bring Phil Kessel to play, Bobby Ryan, maybe even Shattenkirk. You got to bring these guys. I know they're heart and soul type players, but what's Abdelkader doing for you on this team?
Yeah.
You don't need guys to beat up other guys so they don't play well. This is international hockey. This isn't the NHL playoffs.
Yeah, and Abdelkader, he has net front presence, but I don't really see it being that dramatic not to bring a guy that can score.
Yeah. If you're playing in the NHL playoffs, You're covering Crosby. You're covering Malkin. You're covering Thornton. You're covering Marleau. You're covering Pavelski. You cover those guys. They're good. You're good. Nobody else is going to score. But if you're playing against Russia, you're playing against Canada, you cover Ovechkin or Malkin, you cover Crosby, and so on and so forth. You can't cover the third and fourth line. There's still amazing talent.
Well, and I think the U.S. problem is you see it a lot in Canada, that Canada brings top guys, and guys play roles. Like Patrice Bergeron plays a role. Like he is a star for the Bruins, and he comes to Canada and he's like, nope, I'm a face-off guy. Like, I'm cool with that. Whereas like Ryan Kessler,
Getzlaf is
like Getzlaf, he knows he's not the top talent anymore. Like he's cool with that. Where
exactly.
like
These
Ryan,
guys,
where Ryan Kessler, he comes to Team USA and he doesn't change how he plays or what his role is. Where he should be that net front presence guy. He should be that Abdelkader type role that they wanted Abdelkader to play. Right? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. You need those role players, and we remember before the tournament, I was thinking, why are they putting Bergeron and Marchand with Crosby? That's their best line.
Yeah.
I was shocked that as it is, they're playing their roles. Marchand is stealing the puck. He's going in the boards, winning those battles. He's doing his job. Bergeron is setting up Crosby. He's replaying him back and forth with Crosby. So, and then Crosby's the playmaker or the finisher. Everybody's playing their role. They'll fit with their line mates and with the other lines. So, and even though they're playing roles and role types, they're still superstars in the NHL.
Yeah,
that are
and like
adapting.
Brad Marchand is not the same Brad Marchand that plays for the Bruins.
Yeah,
like he's not a pest out on the ice right now because he knows that doesn't work in international hockey.
Yep.
Right? Like, there's no way anybody's going to try to. He won't be able to goat anybody into penalties because nobody fights, nobody pushes each other around. Like, there's not any of that style of play. So he's completely changed his role of being just a guy that digs in the corners and works hard.
Yeah. So that's what happened there. And moving on, the Czechs. You know what? It seemed like, I don't know when it was, but 5, 7, 8 years ago, Czechs were a top 3-4 team. Now, not so much anymore. Are they even a top 5 team?
No, I don't think so.
Is it time for the Czechs to have a summit? Maybe.
Or do they join Team Europe?
Yeah.
And then, like, the next team, like Slovakia, comes out and is now Slovakia represented?
Oh, that would really dig that dagger a little further if Slovakia becomes better than the Czech Republic. Oh, that would be hilarious. But yeah, it's a tough one. But yeah, they need to do something because they don't have that top talent anymore. And those years with Yager and Hasek between the pipes.
Yeah.
Those top superstars. Not so much anymore. And again, maybe there's a few guys that are missing, like a David Krejci in this tournament, who's banged up a bit. But still, they're lacking quite a bit, and they're outside of the top 5 for sure.
Definitely.
That's too bad. And then Finland, I didn't know this. Is Pekka Rinne considered one of the worst goalies now?
Oh man, he's so leaky. It's ridiculous.
So it bothered me because last year, that was like going to be my depth pick on fantasy hockey before the season started. I was like, yeah, he wasn't so good 2 years ago. Maybe I can take him later on. And then somebody took him, like, 4th or 5th round. And his stats looked amazing last year. Was it all because of their top defense? Is their defense that good that Rinne looks that amazing behind Shea Weber and Yoshi?
I read an article the other day that there's guys anticipating that Marek Mazinik is going to be the starter by the end of the year this year.
Yeah. How many? We should have checked that. How many years does Rinne still have on this contract?
Oh, I don't know.
Let's check that. But yeah, I was even talking to a guy on the subway going to that first game with North America versus Sweden, right? And yeah, even like we were talking back and forth. I saw he had the hockey tickets with him, so we were talking back and forth, and he was saying, yeah, his percentages, Rene's percentages on average shots are about the average, like all the other top goalies. It's very high, but on high percentage shots in top corners, very low, considering against a Corey Schneider or Carey Price. So statistically, in high stats, Pekka Rinne is one of the worst goalies now in the NHL among starters.
That's crazy. Did Tuukka did get into? Oh yeah, Tuukka got into 2 games.
Yeah.
Huh.
So yeah, he looked pretty bad in some of those games, and I was shocked. And everybody was harping on them. Ooh, wow, back-to-back goals by the Czech Republic. Milan Mihalik, the current Maple Leaf, scores the second one, and it's 4-2 USA with about 2.5 remaining in the second period.
So with that rant, I was able to look up Rene's contract. Yep. He's got 3 more years at $7 million.
Woo-hoo-hoo. And if he's considered this bad, then that's a rough one for the Preds.
Yeah.
So yeah, apparently, put it out there, folks. Pekka Rinne is one of the worst goalies in the NHL. Beats me. I didn't see it, folks. I'm not a huge stats guy, but I was just looking at their average save percentage stats and how well the team was playing. I thought he was still pretty good, but I guess not. His many good years are behind him. How many goalies out there, Paul, are out there that have made a big contract or a big career over one good run? You know, there's the Cam Wards. Is it Jonathan Quick? Apparently Jonathan Quick doesn't have very good high percentage save stats as well. And he didn't look that great in some of the season this year and the last year. Even apparently the second time they won, he wasn't that great.
Well, so and look at Luongo. Luongo got a huge contract.
Yeah.
And then couldn't play to that standard.
Yeah. I think he's more banged up and older now too.
Yeah.
Luongo going. So because he looked like he just looked like he ran out of energy in that last, especially that last playoff.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird how that happens.
Tuukka could be named that big contract.
Yeah.
Can't live up to it anymore.
So we'll see what happens. Ooh, nice big save there, Mrazek. And then there's North America, folks. That's just hurts at your heartstrings, doesn't it, Paul?
Yeah, it does. I blame because I didn't go get a McDavid North America T-shirt.
I know. It's so funny too. I was so on the fence about getting the Matthews jersey or not. Am I like almost double his age buying a guy's jersey that's like 18? And, I was on the fence about that. How long is this jersey going to be out there, the logo and everything. So I bought the Europe hockey hat. I went out and bought these. They're playing so well that I'm like, they're in the semis. I'm going to buy their hat. So I bought that. That's what I ended up buying.
Is it as ugly as their jerseys?
No, it doesn't have the split.
Okay.
It just has the Europe hockey on the front. And if it was weird because the Team Canada, the Russia, and the North American hats had the loop in the back. They weren't fullbacks. This one is.
Nice.
Which is what I like. Also, I'm not a big fan of the World Cup of Hockey logo, and on most of those, that logo's on the back. On this one, it's actually the Europe team's logo, not the logo of this tournament. So I like this. I can wear the hat frontwards or backwards. So that's why I liked more about it. And they're playing well, so they deserve it. So North America's out, and how does this work, Paul, again? I don't know. This league standings, how you get into the next round, I can't understand it, Paul.
Well,
my brain blew up.
Well, you don't need to understand it now because it's done and over with, and we know who's moving on.
Oh my God, it was hurting my brain. So if the kids had beaten Sweden in regulation, they would have made it to the next round, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Because it could have been a three-way tie if Russia still won that third game. Then it would have went to, technically, because they were all regulation wins type things, it would have went to goal differential, and the kids scored the most, especially against Finland, right? That's why it would have happened. But then this way, it ends up being more of a two-way tie, and when it's a two-way tie, it depends who played who. So Sweden got the extra point because they lost to the kids in OT, and then it matches up between the kids and Russia. Russia ended up beating Finland, so in the two-way tie, it depends on who beat who when you played each other. Russia beat the kids, so Russia qualifies for next round. So in the next round, it's Sweden versus Europe and Canada versus Russia. So why didn't North America, I guess, win against Russia or win in regulation against Sweden? I blame Leo Komarov. I put it all on him. My Maple Leaf, one of my Maple Leaf favorites. I blame him. Ekblad out. He took him out. I think he was, in my opinion, he's already a top 10 defenseman in this league. He was leading these kids. He was doing a great job. Instead of kids like Trouba and Murray eating up minutes on the ice, Ekblad would have eaten up most of those minutes, made less errors, getting the puck easier out, faster, everything. Great leader on the ice.
Yeah,
already at his age.
Yeah, he's so poised with the puck. He just slows the game down. It's incredible.
So that's tough, and I hope, because that's the thing, is he's already had concussion issues. It didn't look that bad at the hit too, but they got to take precautions. I'm all with Florida. Take precautions. It's your player. It's his career. But that, in my opinion, I think they would have beat Russia if they had Ekblad. Yeah.
And the Sweden game, I think Matt Murray, the injury to Matt Murray, his thumb, and they had to play John Gibson. Yeah, John Gibson's a good goalie, but Matt Murray looked real good in the first game.
But the two of those goals against Russia didn't look that great, right?
No, but
he made some big saves too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's tough to say, but I think the Ekblad injury really hurt them the most out of everything. Oh man. And yeah, in my opinion, he's already a top defenseman in the league already, top 10.
Yeah, so. Just another defenseman to throw on Team Canada.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm expecting him, like, if the Canadians go to the Olympics in 2 years or whatever, I expect him to be on that top 6, 7. I'd rather have him than Bouwmeester and some of the other guys. So, all right. So, what are your predictions now? Europe, Sweden. That's a question mark, right?
Yeah, I'm still going to go with Sweden.
Yeah. I'm going to go and jump on the bandwagon here.
Oh, just because you have the hat.
I got the hat. I'm liking these guys. They've somehow put their team together and are playing well. The big question mark here is, can their goaltending beat the other goaltender, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be tough for Team Europe because Hank is playing well, and they can't even go wrong with Markstrom, right? So that's going to be tough again. And Swedish defense still considered the best in the tournament. I still think they're better than Canada's defense. Maybe not the system and the way Canada plays, but Swedes' defense on their own, amazing. But I'm going to go with Europe just because I want to. And then, so you're going with the Swedes, and on the other side,
Canada.
We're both going Canada against the Ruskies. So, and then the finals. What are our picks? You're going. I guess we're going with both with the obvious one, right?
Canada
against, for you, Sweden, and for me against Europe. So,
and
I don't know.
They'll win two straight games because it's the best 2 out of 3.
They're just too dominant.
Yeah.
The thing is now, where's the measuring stick now for Canada? Like, they have not even put any pressure on Canada. I don't even think Canada's played at 90%. I think they're coasting at an 82% right now.
Well, I think that'll be the problem. They'll beat themselves.
Yeah, that's the only way. If they don't come out 100% or something, that could hurt them. One lucky goal here, a random goal here, a deflection, and boom, another team could beat them because they're not playing 100%.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But man, Canada looks unbeatable almost. So.
But then again, if Russia brings their hot sticks, they can light up the lamp pretty easily.
Yeah, Russia's defense.
Yeah,
it's
not
that
suspect.
fast. They're slower, like with Emlyn and Markov. Even like Zaitsev, he's pretty good. I'm surprised how well Zaitsev is playing in this tournament. But against Canada's defense, wow, It's just a big difference.
Yeah.
In levels. So, all right. Our top picks of players on team so far. Paul, what do you have for any team?
Let's start with Europe. Your Cinderella darling team. Yes. I'm going Matt Zuccarello.
Nice.
Yeah.
What do you like about his game so far?
I'm a big fan of Matt Zuccarello, and he's got speed. He's sneaky good. Like
he's underrated.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Underrated. Yeah. I still think he's the best offensive player on the Rangers for like the last 3 years.
Yeah, I would say he's up there. Yeah.
So he is good. I haven't seen so much of Europe to notice Zuccarello too much on the ice, but how can you not notice Leon the Professional?
Yeah.
Draisaitl is dynamite. The Oiler fans are drooling at how well he's playing in this tournament. I didn't see this coming. I was expecting Kopitar to help them win that one game or so, but I think it's mostly because of the way they're playing together. They've merged well, and the upcoming of Draisaitl. So, it's amazing. For me, on Sweden, again, it's Victor Hedman. This guy can do anything. He's dynamite everywhere. Hard shot, positioning, amazing, great defensively. He's, you know what, in my opinion, I wouldn't mind taking him as my captain on Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
So, who do you got on Sweden?
I picked two guys. I'm going to go with Lundqvist. I think he's just so good. When he's in the net, Sweden just calms down. They relax. He's so good.
Oh, the kids looked so good at moments in that game, and he robbed them. There was that, I can't remember who it was, but maybe one of them was Johnny Hockey. He robbed Johnny Hockey huge on, I think he had a semi-breakaway, and there was another one who was a one-timer play, and he robbed another guy. Oh, man. Hank is huge. If it wasn't for Hank, I don't know who else, but I think the kids might have had one or two more goals in regulation at least.
Yeah.
He was great. Good pick. For myself, for Canada, I have to go with these two. Sid the Kid is dynamite. He's so amazing. And then my underdog pick, which I love him, is Marchand. I didn't expect him to do that much playing in this team, but again, he's playing on the top line, and he's doing a tremendous job in my mind. He's outworking so many players. He's winning so many puck battles. He's stealing the puck all the time. He's amazing. I love this kid. I love him even more the way he's playing in this tournament.
Did you hear what he said about who his favorite guys were in the dressing room to hang out with?
No, I didn't hear this.
Joe Thornton and Brent Burns. He's like, these guys just don't care about anything. They're just
even better.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beauty. And
then he also brought up being buddies with Carey Price on the ice, and he's like, well, I'll go to bat for Carey, but on the ice, no. I'll still be the way I am every other year. So It's good that he's not changing. I'm going with a guy that I just love to watch every single game, no matter where he is in Colorado, Team Canada, Matt Duchene. This guy he's a highlight reel.
He is. And it's weird. With these Colorado players, we're going to mention the other one a little bit later with his amazing goal. But Matt Duchene, I don't know. I'm pretty sure Don Cherry is a big fan of him, and he mentions him a lot. I see a couple of Colorado games, and he plays really well. But sometimes he's just brilliant, and he played amazing that second game.
Yeah. That goal he scored on Jonathan Quick when the puck turned over and he patiently waited across the ice and put it 5-hole.
Yeah.
That was an incredible goal. He knew exactly what he was doing, opening up quick and then just sliding it on the ice. Unreal.
Wow. Beautiful. And then we got Russia. I'm nicely surprised by that KHL line, especially Teligan. I think Dadonov is a bit of a selfish player because the way Teligan plays, he's helping so well on the PK, and he looked fabulous when I went to the game today on the ice. He was always in the right place. He was also always supporting his teammates, and he scored a great goal. He's very underrated. And again, Tarasenko, just dynamite on the ice. His speed, his flashiness, He's playing amazing for Russia.
I'm going to go with another goalie, Bobrovsky.
Yes.
He's played unreal. That's all I got to say. He's played unreal.
He has played unreal. He's played very well. It's a short tournament, and that's how it goes. So how great is this tournament? I still can't believe it. I remember, Paul, right? Was it last year when they were talking about the whole thing? And even a week and a half ago, people were saying how gimmicky it was, this Team Europe, North America, that. It won't be any good. It's amazing. It's truly amazing. You know what? I'm going to talk a little bit about it, but first off, I got to give huge love to the Swedish fans. Wow, you guys are beauties. They're out there. They're in full force. And the cool thing about them, like, I went to the game again today. I'll talk a little bit about matching against Swedes and Russia fans. But the Swedes, you notice them a little bit more. One, they're all wearing the Trey Croner yellow jersey. Every single one of them. They're not wearing any other, the blue one. They're all wearing the yellow one. And they're all chanting at the exact same time. They're loud and they're proud. Good for them. I noticed them even before I went. And then when I went to the game, the Swedes versus the kids, excellent. And boy, was that the best game of the tournament, Paul.
Yeah. By far, best game.
Did you see that third period? Did you see that overtime?
Yeah, I watched both. At home on my couch.
Okay, I was at the game. Oh my God. This was outstanding. So I'm there with our buddy Logan, and the first thing I said is, man, this 3-on-3 is boring. There's so much ice. There's too much ice. Nothing's going on. Minute later, boom, breakaway there. 2-on-1 here. Breakaway there, and another breakaway, and wow, beauty. Nathan McKinnon. What hands.
Yeah.
That was the best play of the tournament, in my opinion.
I'm going to rebuttal and say John Gibson stopping, I don't know who was on the breakaway. I think Backlund, or I don't remember who was on the breakaway, but just before that goal, Gibson stoned a guy on the breakaway. If he let that puck go in, there would be no McKinnon goal. So
exactly. That's correct. That is correct. That overtime. Wow. I have to say that it's probably the best game of the tournament. It's probably the best game I've ever been to. And I've been to a fair bit of hockey games. That was amazing.
That's impressive to say that.
Yeah. But I you know what? I haven't been to a playoff game yet. So and I think there's a reason behind that. Right, people?
I think so.
So, yeah. But again, they're pricey too if they do play in the playoffs. But yes, that game was amazing. The Swedes fans are great. Went to that. I did go to the Village after. Surprisingly, a little dead, you know. So it wasn't that happening. There's a lot of cool things to do. I did play the bubble hockey. That was fun and cool. And there's a few other things with the hardest shots, and there was some accuracy stuff. Tim Hicks was there. Not a big country fan, but he was there. So some people like that. And there was a lot of giveaways. So fans, if you like giveaways, if you like a free concert, maybe from, Lenny Kravitz or who else, go out there and check it out. It's pretty cool, actually. A lot of cool things. And if you don't like that, you can always go to Distillery District right beside it. So check out the Village. It's still going to be happening for a few more days. But yeah, that was cool. And then today, I went and saw Russia versus the Finns. And the Russians dominated. And the other cool thing is, I didn't expect this, because on TV, it's not as noticeable. But there are a lot of Russian fans at the games. I was sitting right next to Russians from Chicago. They drove 8.5 hours to see a hockey game in Toronto. And they were great. There's so many Russian fans. And that was the other thing that annoyed me. When I went to see the Swedes play North America, they're doing their Swedish chants. They're amazing Swedish chants. They all know them. Am I supposed to chant something? What am I going to chant? It's Team North America. Do we have a chant? Okay, wait, I made one up. TNA. TNA. I think they're getting confused with something else. So I got a few laughs from some of the fans around, trying to make a chant up, and people could get TNA confused with something else. But yeah, But the Russians, they had so many different chants. There's Россия, which is obviously Russia, but they have idiom, so that's more like push the play, Ide, like I would say in Serbian, but go, basically how we would say go, go, go kind of thing. So they say idiom. And then the weird one, which is, I think it's Chaiba, and that's kind of like play the puck. I believe Chaiba is kind of like the word puck. So they just go Chaiba, Chaiba, or Chaibu. And yeah, it's a bit of a weird chant. But they have many chants, and that was one of them. And it was cool. It was very cool to see so many different chants, so loud and proud. And a few fans, and a lot of them, which is kind of weird, dressed like classic Russian folk. There were some wearing the Ushanka hat, I believe it's called. You know, the old Russian hat they would wear in Moscow in the cold and freezing weather. So a lot of people there, and a lot of formal dress, like kings and queens. So it was pretty cool. They're wearing a crown and stuff, and they were all wearing their classy Russian, clothing, formal wear. It was cool. It was very cool to see.
So would you have been as excited about the tournament if it wasn't in Toronto?
That's tough to say. No, obviously it's here. I got to go to the games, so I'm way more excited because it is here. That's for sure. If it was somewhere else, is there a chance I might go? Maybe 50-50. I might go because I do go on a lot of these road trips. If it was somewhere like really far, like Russia, probably not. But maybe it would have been a different venue in terms of experience, and it would have been good if I had gone. But that it is here, that it is great, that I got to see the village, the fans, the Swedish fans, the Russian fans, great hockey. I even got to talk to a lot of the fans. I congratulated the Swedish fans for making it that far. Talked to some Finnish fans and saying, hey, you know what? 2 years, 4 years, probably 6 years from now, they're going to be a good young competing team for a medal.
Yeah.
So, it's very good. It's great atmosphere, great hockey. It's a beautiful thing to watch. Like even when sitting next to my dad when I went to the Russian game, he's never seen that many Russians in one place. So he was happy to see that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. And that's it for this episode. Next episode, we're going to continue talking how the semis and the finals went. Go Team Canada, right, Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we'll give you more training camp updates. And like I said, we're going to have an expansion draft before the season begins. And again, we're also going to have 2 episodes that week before the season begins in terms of like a season preview. I think we had a special term for that. Did we say what it was last time?
Yeah, we did.
We did. Now
Sneak peek.
Sneak peek. That's right. Team sneak peek. We'll do 2 episodes. So 1 episode is the Eastern Conference, 1 episode is Western Conference. A little quick sneak peek for every single team in the NHL before the season starts on the 12th of October. So that's it for this episode. We'll see you next time.
Bye.